Hi, this is Tom Rhodes. Please join me as I scour the four corners of the earth to bring you interesting and intelligent, funny people who will enrich your life with wisdom and laughter. I'll take you to Europe, Australia, all over America. I might take you to the peaks of Machu Picchu, the canals of Amsterdam, the Great Wall of China, or the swamps of Florida, and certainly the many, many comedy clubs and comedy theaters all over the world. Come hang out with me and meet the many interesting people that pop up in my life as I travel the world as a stand-up comedian.
You're listening to Tom Rhodes Radio.
Karate kick, baby.
Rock and roll.
Welcome to Tom Rhodes Radio Smart Camp, home of the libtard and his beautiful genius photographer wife. How are you, beautiful genius photographer wife?
I'm not the libtard.
No, what? I'm the wife. That stupid joke popped into my head because you remember you and I were talking about street jokes.
Yes.
You've heard that stupid street joke. Get down here and suck your wife's dick. I told you that joke before.
No, it sounds horrible.
Yeah, it is terrible. There's two. It's kind of ironic to start a podcast called Smart Camp with one of the most foul jokes of all time. But
way to start this podcast.
This small guy gets put into a prison cell with this big muscular guy, and the first night they're sitting on their bed bunks, and the big muscular guy says, let's play a game. Let's play husband and wife. You get to choose. Do you want to be the husband or the wife? And the little guy goes, I'll be the husband. And then the big guy says, well, get down here and suck your...
What? I didn't hear the last thing.
Get down here and suck your wife's dick. It's terrible. We should...
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I don't know if we should start the podcast with. Why not? You never heard that street joke?
No.
Yeah, it's terrible. I'm sorry I laughed. A comedian shouldn't laugh at the punchline. Yeah. Do you want to be the husband or the wife? And the little guy goes, I'll be the husband. We'll get down here and suck your wife's dick. So that's not. That's just popped into my head. So
Okay, great, because we are all waiting for Mr. Martin joke up front.
Like Mr. Martin would
Segment.
give me the first 5 minutes of every class to tell jokes.
Exactly.
Thanks for...
I kind of forgot his name. That's why I stumbled.
Not a problem. Did you know that studies prove that people with low self-esteem have fewer car accidents? Isn't that amazing? Just to think of somebody with low self-esteem behind the wheel driving going, everybody hates me, the world is against me, but I'm going to signal safely as I make this left turn. Why does everybody hate me? And just being a excellent driver. So, I mean, if you're behind the wheel driving and you think, wow, I'm a worthless piece of shit, you might notice that you're probably one of the safest drivers on the road. And another study by car insurance companies said that Capricorns are the safest drivers. They have the fewest amount of accidents. They crunched the data, and Capricorns have the lowest amount of accidents. And so if you're a Capricorn with low self-esteem, you're probably one of the safest drivers on the road. But I'm a Capricorn, and I don't think there's any such thing as a Capricorn with low self-esteem. Also, that...
Wow, that was so funny. I'm laughing out loud while I'm getting off the chair.
I didn't say it was a good joke. It's not as good as sucking your wife's dick, that's for sure. Geminis have the most accidents, by the way.
It's a super interesting knowledge nugget.
It's a good knowledge. I guess it's more of a knowledge nugget than it is a joke. But you know,
I love how you did it. We just recorded knowledge nuggets
for this week.
So it's really funny how you did it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's a little embryo, it's a little seed sapling, And who knows? Maybe it'll grow into a tree one day.
Okay, you're gonna try it at the where you are? You're at Tampa this week, right?
I am at Side Splitters in Tampa this week. I have not played at this club in probably 10 or 15 years.
Great news for Florida.
Hey, Tampa people. And it's funny because Tampa was the first place outside of Orlando that I ever played.
Wow.
Tampa, my early career was driving up and down I-4, which is one of the most, there was always construction in Lakeland. It was one of the most tedious drives in the world. And
But you thought,
I'm in show business, baby.
I'm going out of town.
The first time I ever played there, the place doesn't exist anymore. I was still in high school, and when the local Orlando comedians all drove to go do this open mic in Tampa, and it was at a place called the Peanut Gallery. And they had peanut shells on the floor. That was the thing. Like, people would eat peanuts and just throw the shells on the floor.
Like in an American Western movie.
Yeah, and you're walking around the place and it would crunch. And there was like paths through the place where people walked and stuff. But they actually closed that place down for health reasons because you're not supposed to throw shit on the ground and leave it there.
Florida and cockroaches.
Florida. And then I did coconuts in St. Pete Beach forever. And then, thank God, Ron Bennington of the Bennington Show fame on XM Sirius, he started a club called Ron Bennington's Comedy Scene in Clearwater. And that's where I met some of my best friends that I've had my whole life. Ron Bennington, Lou
Brian
Angelwolf. No, I met Brian Regan doing shitty one-nighters on the East Coast. I met Brian Regan like playing in Cocoa Beach and Daytona Beach.
When you guys were young.
Yeah, and I mean, I did work with Brian at Ron Bennington's.
What other comedians in Florida when you were just starting out?
Well, like Brian Regan was probably a year or 2 years before me, and then a few years after me, Billy Gardell came.
Shit.
Jim Brewer was in Tampa.
Great.
I would see Jim Brewer all the time. He was always brilliant and like really animated and
Of course,
just dominated the stages. Dan Whitney, who is now Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Oh, yeah. Of course, that's not his
Yeah.
name. Larry.
Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah, and he's from like West Palm Beach, which is not that redneck. And Carrot Top.
So in Tampa, you're gonna try these new jokes
I might, sure.
because that's a cool thing. Because people can, living in Florida in the neighborhood of Tampa, they can now go to your gig this week and hear you doing a better version of what your joke was. Your Mr.
Working
Martin
it out.
jokes up front.
Yeah, and then that other thought that I had, which is really like a husband thing. I like to have blueberries for breakfast.
Yeah.
And you won't allow me to get regular blueberries because what's the list? The IOG thing?
The Dirty Dozen list.
And what website is that on?
EWG.org.
EWG.org. So they have this list of the Dirty Dozen, and that is the fruits and vegetables that have the most pesticides. Mm-hmm. Or is it just fruit?
Fruit and vegetables.
Okay, that has the most. And apparently blueberries are strawberries are the worst.
The strawberries are the worst.
That have the most-
Never buy non-organic strawberries because there's so much pesticides in it. It just makes you so unhealthy. And this is after you wash it.
After that,
Yeah, the measurements are after you wash the product.
Wow. So, and then they also, what's the clean? Well, there's the Dirty Dozen and then the Clean
yeah.
15. Is that it?
Something like
The
that.
Clean
Yeah.
15 of the ones that are nice.
And
So-
every year it changes. This is the Dirty Dozen of 2017.
last year was blueberries. Now it's strawberries.
Yeah,
So-
but blueberries is still pretty high up. So, always buy organic blueberries. And they are already expensive,
Right.
$7 for what? For
It's
300 grams?
It's like $4 or $5 for a little
a little bit.
8
yeah.
ounces or some shit like
Yeah,
that.
but think about it. You're thinking, oh, you're eating something healthy with your breakfast, but you're eating a lot of pesticides. And I'm not talking about oh, that's okay. A little bit pesticides won't hurt you. In America, there's a lot of crazy pesticide use that is forbidden in other countries.
Right, and I think Trump just made
Even worse.
the guy from Monsanto the agricultural chief. So all of us will be dying of poisoning.
We will have you growing a thumb out of our forehead.
That's right. The thumb out of the forehead. I'll take you bowling. So I had this little husband rebellion moment in the grocery store. I was thinking, because you sent me to the grocery store to get a couple things, and I thought, I'm going to get some blueberries, and I'm going to get whatever the fuck I want on the regular blueberries. And then they had organic ones right next to it. And as I was reaching for the organic ones, I thought, she wins again. So, anyway, that's not good. There's,
why do you have to be like low self-esteem Capricorn right now?
There's no one getting hurt in the joke, and there's no sex or violence
Or
in
nude
it.
or dick.
There's no dick jokes involved. Yeah.
No, I think it's fun. It has something really interesting because it's a relationship joke. So people like that shit.
Yeah, and the other thought is about presidential firsts, that the FBI investigating the Trump administration for collusion with a hostile foreign government. That's the first time that's ever happened in American history. So, I mean, I think we should applaud the president for this achievement. It's like bringing somebody to your house. Like first loves, first anything are very important, but you're blinded by new love. People that won't criticize Trump or see anything wrong with him. It's like bringing over a new love to your house, and she puts her feet up on the coffee table. She insults your veteran dad. She bans your Muslim friends and says they're not trustworthy. Tweets that your mom's a bitch, and you go, wow, isn't she great? She speaks her mind and says whatever she wants.
At least she's speaking her mind. Yeah.
Right.
I love that. That's a great joke.
And the FBI, just the fact that there's any suspicion that the Trump administration, what was it? So I had their names written down. So Sessions, Flynn, and then the other guy.
Another white guy.
It's proven that they had connections with the Russian intelligence, and just the fact that there's this suspicion and the FBI has to investigate this connections to Russia. If you'd have told me a few years ago a Republican president would have had secret ties to the Russian government, I would have told you to stick that cheap spy novel up your ass. And
But it's crazy.
yeah, but all of these guys all lying and saying that they had no communication with the Russians, and then it turns out that they did. So just the fact that they're fucking blatantly lying, and that they're lying about colluding with a hostile foreign government. I'm surprised people aren't surrounding the White House with pitchforks and torches and shit right now.
I wonder, what if, I mean, this is the same as all these dictators in Africa.
Mugabe.
Yeah, I mean, think about it.
Maybe Trump will start wearing like a leopard fez. That'd be pretty cool.
I just think there's something about Putin because he looks non-evil. Do you know what I'm saying? To me, he doesn't, but he looks non-evil, so people are not so suspicious of him. It's a weird thing that people are not more upset about it. But anyways, I didn't want to talk about politics.
Yeah, no, and we will move on. I wanted to mention, because our kitchen is emanating this magnificent smell of this delicious Moroccan cake that you made.
Yay!
And
Yes!
Trump today there's some ban on bringing laptop computers onto the main cabin of the plane by, like, I don't know, 7 Muslim countries, and one of them is Morocco.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. I didn't know
Like the
one
normal
was
suspects
Morocco.
are on there, but I was surprised to see Saudi Arabia on the list and also Morocco.
Wow.
So there must be some secret intelligence saying some shit's going to happen. Your delicious cake reminded me to mention that.
Okay.
What's this cake called?
I think it's called basbousa.
Basbousa.
Yeah, it's an I think you can compare it to a little bit of a cornbread, but it's sweet. It has poured over sugar.
It's got like cornmeal type in it.
Semolina. Yeah, it has semolina, yogurt, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of oil, and coconut. You don't have to do coconut, but I did coconut pieces in there.
Yeah.
And then you just put it in the oven.
And don't forget that you put a little almond.
Yeah.
Little almond on top of each piece.
I cut it in diagonal, yeah. And then I put a little almond piece on top. So they're little tiny squares, right? So
Okay.
and then afterwards you just pour sugar water on top. And you have to do a lot of, you make a syrup, you have to do a lot of sugar in it. But I didn't do a lot of sugar. I just poured a little bit of rose water in it. And instead of a lot of sugar in the pie itself, I put cinnamon, a little bit of vanilla essence. So that kind of gives it a sweet kick.
Vanilla accent?
Essence.
Essence. Oh.
Essence.
Vanilla extract? Or
I think it's the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Extract as well. So it's a great alternative for sugar.
Well, so it's more of kind of a healthy cake, and I'm glad because I've eaten 10 pieces. It came out of the oven, 15 minutes ago? And
You ate half of it.
you were taking a minute to set up that Patreon page,
Yeah.
and I ate the shit out of that cake. It was delicious.
Yeah, but we didn't have dinner today. We were so busy.
Yeah, no, it's been a great week. I've done sets every night of the week. What was I? I was at let's look at the calendar. Yeah, I did the Improv Tuesday and Wednesday. Louis C.K., that was a great show on Wednesday. Louis C.K. was on the show.
You should talk about that.
Arsenio Hall. I destroyed the place. It was beautiful.
But you have to say that you went after Arsenio Hall.
I went on after Arsenio Hall, and he did his whole set about Trump and Clinton, and he destroyed the place. And when he walked on, everybody went, woof, woof, woof. I told you how when he had his late night talk show, the audience, that was his thing. They were called the audience was called the Dog Pound. And they would all go, roof, 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 and shake their fists when he came on. So they do that. The audience loved him. He completely destroys the place. And I told you, Arsenio Hall helped Bill Clinton get elected because Arsenio Hall had this late night talk show that African American people watched. And Clinton came on there and played saxophone.
That's so cool.
And everybody thought, oh my God, he's the coolest guy in the world that he
Yeah.
can go on this black late night show and like wail on a saxophone with the band.
Plus a president that plays saxophone. Wow, come on. That's cool.
That was pretty cool. Arsenio says goodnight, and then the audience, roof, roof, roof. I destroyed the place. It was great.
Yeah, so tell us what happens after that.
So
you came off stage.
Louis C.K., said that was brilliant, man. He thought it was hilarious.
And then who else was there?
There was someone else.
Dane Cook.
Oh, yeah, Dane Cook. Yeah.
And he was also, wow.
Oh, yeah, Dane Cook said that you inspired me to work harder.
Wow,
Yeah.
really, that's great.
Yeah.
And then you got the tape from the people because you wanted to have the tape for, to have a recording of it. And then I thought, oh great, I'm gonna see the set. And then they just they didn't have the.
The audience isn't mic'd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
You can hear him laughing, but it's not like.
Yeah, because we wanted to put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
This is this new set. But yeah, I'm thinking, nah, the audience is not mic'd, so the sound is terrible.
Yeah, well, we could. There's a sound doctor that's that came to see me in San Francisco. He might be able to fix it.
Hey, I would love to have a sound doctor look at it. That'd be great.
Yeah, right. But lots of these things cost money, and it costs money to fuel the podcast. Maybe now's a good time to mention Patreon.com.
You're brilliant. Yes. Let's do it.
Patreon.com, Patreon.com. You can actually support your favorite podcast, me, Tom and Ashna, Tom Rhodes Radio Smart Camp.
And you can be a member.
So there's different levels. So $2 makes you a member.
Makes you a member. You're in the club. We'll love you forever. And you can you support the podcast with $2 a month.
And then
which will keep us,
fueling everything we
Yeah.
need to do, like the equipment, the editing, the
time. I think especially the time.
we work our little buns off to put this baby out.
For $5, you get a shout out.
Okay.
On the podcast.
$10, you get any question you want answered.
Yes.
And then $15 is the captain. And then
we will review a movie of your choice.
The movie of your choice, we will review it.
How cool is that?
Okay, so the $20 level makes you a golden Buddha in the Roadsies Club. And then you get a personalized postcard from me.
Wherever you are.
Wherever I am in the world every month. And then also all those other things combined from those different levels.
Yes.
So check it out. Go to patreon.com, Patreon.com, right?
Yes.
Yay.
Yay.
Thanks.
The Roasies Club. Be a member.
Thanks for showing your love. Okay, back to the program now. There is so many cool movies that you and I watched in preparation for this podcast. Mm-hmm. But before we get to that, we need to cover our book segment. I was really busy this week. I didn't. I finished the Kurt Vonnegut, If This Isn't Nice, What Is, which is a great book. Quick read, but I didn't have time to really knock out a book this week. So I want to talk about, for a minute, I would put this book in my top 10 favorite books of all time. And I'm regular listeners of the show know that I've mentioned this book before. The book is called Shantaram. And it's by Gregory David Roberts. And let's see, every summer I like to read a really long, big, thick book. And this book is 933 pages long. Look at that. I made a little heart on the last page. That's how much I love the book.
And Johnny Depp has bought the rights.
Yeah, apparently Johnny Depp bought the rights to this book, and he's going to make a movie out of it. But I've heard that for 10 years.
Yeah, sometimes it takes that long. But we both think that this is the best beginning of any book.
This is the greatest opening paragraph of any book that I've ever read. I think it just grabs you.
Yeah, well, next to Call Me Ishmael. And the second was, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times.
Yeah, I tried to read Tale of Two Cities once. It's that guy loses you before you get to the second page. That's a great opening sentence, and it's been quoted so many times.
Yeah, it did.
But
this one is so great. And this is not a sentence, this is an opening scene.
This is the opening paragraph of Shantaram. I'm going to lay it on you. You ready? Okay, you in the car? You walking down the street in London? You there in Seattle? Okay, we're ready? All right, here it comes. It took me a long time and most of the world to learn what I know about love and fate and the choices we make. But the heart of it came to me in an instant, while I was chained to a wall and being tortured. I realized, somehow, through the screaming in my mind, that even in that shackled, bloody helplessness, I was still free. Free to hate the men who were torturing me or to forgive them. It doesn't sound like much, I know, but in the flinch and the bite of the chain, when it's all you've got, that freedom is a universe of possibility. And the choice you make between hating and forgiving can become the story of your life.
Wow.
That is a motherfucking opening paragraph, Jack. That's an alcohol-burning funny car ripping down the track, and then that book is off and running. I won't even. There's too much of that book to describe. He was a junkie. The guy wanted to be a writer. He's from Melbourne, Australia. He becomes a heroin addict. He's doing petty crimes. He gets thrown in prison in Melbourne, and then he breaks out, and he somehow gets to India. In Mumbai, and after his money runs out, he has to go live in the slums. And with his Boy Scout medical knowledge of first aid, he becomes like the doctor of the slums. So it's kind of this redemption story. And then he ends up getting entangled with the Mumbai mafia, who are doing all kinds of bad shit. And then he's helping with the counterfeit passports. And then the guy goes to Afghanistan. This is kind of like in the 80s when Afghanistan, the Russians were there fighting. Anyway, and then he comes back to India, gets thrown in prison again. And that's the scene where he's being tortured. And he had fallen in love with some German chick. And then whatever, there's a scene where he's riding a motorcycle around Goa trying to find her. Anyway, read the damn book. It's one of my favorites.
It sounds epic.
It's epic. I don't know how, the John Steinbeck book that I would also put in my top 10 is East of Eden. And that movie, the famous movie with James Dean, it's only the first 150 pages. And the book's probably 400 pages long. So, like, when that movie came out, like, we consider it a classic. When that movie came out, real, like, Steinbeck fans probably left that movie angered, going, what the fuck? They ended it at chapter 4,
Right.
So that's how I feel about Shantaram. It would be very difficult to try and capture that in a movie.
Maybe they should capture it in TV series.
You can do that now.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe we should do it.
Okay.
You didn't expect that?
No. I was like, okay. So, no, because we were about to talk about movies, and then we watched 3 episodes last night of Black Mirror.
Yes, and it's
Holy
funny.
shit.
Yeah, it's funny that because you're a comedian, you should definitely watch the Black Mirror series. Because I remember last year my mom was here, and we stumbled on it, and we watched the first episode. It was super interesting, and even my mom loved it. So I think I told you about it. I don't remember.
Well, I've heard about it because this guy Charlie Broker,
Yeah.
he has this essay show, satirical news and essay show in England. I know he's had Doug Stanhope on his show, and I know of the guy, and I heard about this series from a lot of different people that it was brilliant. I just haven't had time to watch it yet.
Yeah.
So I think we watched like the last episode of season 2, where we started somewhere funky in the middle or something.
Yeah, because we were going for the subjects instead of the, or the order.
Yeah.
Because every movie we saw this week was after 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning because we were busy all day.
Yeah.
And we would go to bed like 3:30 in the morning watching all these movies. So we can talk about it in the podcast.
So was it...
So we watched... I know the last one that we watched together was about the premier. The Prime Minister.
Yeah, the Princess Diana
Yeah.
is taken hostage, and then the ransom is that the Prime Minister has to have sex with a pig on live television, or else he's going to kill the princess.
Yeah.
And wow.
And it's such a great essay. It makes such a great point. Because the point is, how far will politicians go for the people's approval?
Yeah, well, I don't know, but yeah.
That was what it was about. You don't think that it was about how far a politician will go for to get votes. Let me put it that way.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good point. I just thought it was interesting that all those shots of London, the streets completely empty.
How did they do that? Yeah.
Everybody is home watching this live event. Everybody knows that it's going to happen, and the panic of the guy leading up to it. That was incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
But what do you think about the whole reason why they wrote it? You didn't see any meaning in it?
Well, I mean...
I thought that was so brilliant because it is exactly about what is happening today. What politicians do for just having an approval rating.
Yeah, but I mean, the ransom, the kidnappers, the ultimate humiliation.
Yeah.
And the guy, his wife will never have sex with him again.
Yeah.
Or
That he will go that far because the woman kept on saying, "Oh, a lot of people now will understand if you don't do it." And then after the finger of the woman gets cut, the Lady Diana personage gets cut, they do another approval rating and they say, the approval rating went down.
Now the
because
people want him to do it.
Now people wanted
Yeah.
to do it. And that's when he began to stress out and thought, holy shit, I have to do it now. There's no choice. The choice is made. I have to do it. That was funny because
That's what the people wanted.
did. Yeah, because of the people wanted it. Because he didn't need to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, why would he? It's as for a prime minister, you should not go for ransom. What a kidnapper asks.
Right.
Because that means that you give people like that a lot of power.
Right.
Because then it will happen all the time. People being kidnapped.
But the Queen had called him. And the Queen said she expected him to do what he had to do to save her life.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do it. No.
Yeah.
And why would he not sacrifice?
I'd say, sorry, get yourself a new princess.
Yeah.
But then there's just that scene. Anyway, we won't talk. So then there was that one. Then the other episode we watched, that might have been the one that was the last of season 2 or something.
Oh, wait, can I add
Yeah.
one more thing? At the end, he just got like 3-point approval.
Only 3 points went up from where he was the year before.
And that was it.
Wow.
And it was also funny when he actually did it and you saw all the people watching him doing it and you saw their faces. That was such a funny thing.
Yeah.
And they kept on looking at it and thinking, my God, when is he gonna stop? It's already taking him now.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That was funny.
Wow. So then there was the brilliant episode where people have these implants in their back of their neck, and they can record their memories.
That was the second one.
They can record their memories.
That was
and then
brilliant,
and this guy comes home early. His wife's having a party with old friends, and you think this guy's like a really mild mannered, kind of dorky,
a decent guy. Yeah.
Well, or like just a guy not that wouldn't make a fuss or be forceful in any
Yeah.
way, and then he becomes obsessed.
Because in
with
this,
these little moments at this party, like his wife laughed at everything that this one guy said.
so in this world, people can. So in this world, everything gets captured by your eyes, and you can.
If you have this thing in your neck.
Exactly, and then you can rewind back at any time. You can rewind back and then see what happened. So that's the world they're living in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably where the technology's going.
That's what Black Mirror is about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, go on. So he gets very obsessed because he wants to know everything what's happened between his wife and that guy because he has this feeling something is not right.
Yeah.
So he goes and rewinds every moment because you can also close up on that experience you had
Right.
that was captured. So and you can also do, for example, a speak
Voice read, lip reading.
device.
Yeah.
Let's see, like it's a voice reading app. So you can hear also if the sound is not recorded, you can have an app tell you what the person said, which is really funny. So he gets so obsessed, and at the end of the episode is that his feelings were right. Right?
Yeah,
so
it
did happen.
Yeah, that his wife was having an affair with this guy. And these little recording, miniature remote controls, to the way that you can like flip back to scroll through your memories, and then you can put it up on the TV.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead and show us.
Yeah.
Show us the moment that happened to you in your meeting today. Or let's look at that moment so he could review that scene at the party with his wife.
Yeah.
And go, look, you're laughing at everything the guy says. It was like fucking brilliant concept, man. And that to have a psychological thriller around that premise, I think this show is brilliant. I love it.
The most funniest scene was when they were having sex, and we were watching a scene where they're having, really hot sex together. And then at the end, you see them both just replaying their first
time they were together?
First time that they had sex together. And they're just being, they're doing just like a very normal position, like a very boring position.
Yeah.
And they're both dreaming about the first time they had sex. And
When
that
it was passionate, yeah.
Yeah, that was really
Wow.
horrible, you know.
So and then the last. So then we went back and started from the first episodes. I forget which. I think maybe the Prime Minister one was episode 1.
Yeah.
And then the next episode was there's this Hot Shots show, like America's Got Talent or The Voice.
Yeah, I didn't like that one, so I went to bed.
Well, it was great. So all these,
And it was 3:30.
These people are in this factory and they got to pedal and they got to get all these points. They got to do all this shit to get to the main stage in front of the 3 judges. I thought this also really was a statement on narcissism and vanity and pop culture and fame, the way things are. And it had the guy who's the star in Get Out.
Oh, that's right.
I love this guy. Jesus, what a great actor. I should have looked up his name. He's amazing. He falls in love with this girl. He gives her points so she can go out there.
But don't tell the movie because I already told it other episodes a little bit too much. So.
Well, he gives this. It's funny. Something nasty happens to the girl that he loves, and then he's got to like work his ass off to get the points to go out and face these judges. And he gives this speech in front of the judges, which I thought it was quite a statement against the world of vanity and likes. And that actor, I love the dude.
No one stops me, not till I've said my piece, and you could do what you like.
Oh, man, just fucking kill yourself. But you get any on me, dog, I swear to God I'll kick your ass back to life, just so I can cut your goddamn head off.
God.
I think we should let him speak.
Let's hear what he has to say.
Well, come on. Got our attention, as requested. What do you want to say? Have you prepared a speech? Is that it?
Speak! I haven't got a speech, I didn't plan words, I didn't even try to. I just knew I had to get here, to stand here, and I knew I wanted you to listen. To really listen, not just pull a face like you're listening, like you do the rest of the time. A face like you're feeling instead of processing. You pull a face and poke it towards this stage, and we la-dee-da, we sing and dance and tumble around, and all you see up here, it's not people. You don't see people up here, it's all fodder. And the faker the fodder is, the more you love it, because fake fodder is the only thing that works anymore. Fake fodder is all that we can stomach. Actually, not quite all. Real pain, real vicious, the stab you can take. Yeah, stick a fat man up a pole and we'll laugh ourselves feral, because we've earned the right. We've done so the time, and he's slacking the scum, so ha 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 at him. Because we're so out of our minds with desperation, we don't know any better. All we know is fake fodder and buying shit. That's how we speak to each other, how we express ourselves, is buying shit. Well, I have a dream. The peak of our dreams is a new hat for our doppel. A hat that doesn't exist. It's not even there. We buy shit that's not even there. Show us something real and free and beautiful. You couldn't. Yeah? It'd break us. We're too numb for it. Our minds would choke. There's only so much wonder we can bear. That's why when you find any wonder whatsoever, you dole it out in meager portions. And only then till it's augmented and packaged and pumped through 10,000 pre-assigned filters, till it's nothing more than a meaningless series of lights while we ride day in, day out. Going where? Powering what? All tiny cells and tiny screens, and bigger cells and bigger screens, and fuck you! Fuck you! That's what it boils down to, is fuck you! Fuck you for sitting there and slowly knitting things worse! Fuck you and your spotlight and your sanctimonious faces, and fuck you all for taking the one thing I ever came close to anything real about anything! But oozing around it and crushing it into a bone, into a joke, one more ugly joke in the kingdom of millions, and then fuck you! Fuck you for happening! Fuck you for me! For us! For everyone! Fuck you!
That was, without a doubt, the Most heartfelt thing I've seen on this stage since Hot Shot began.
What was it about though? Was it about that everything that you do well can be made money out of? Is that what it is? That everything can be commercialized?
That you surrender that there's no authenticity. Everybody's trying to be. Everyone wants the approval of these three judges and the crowd, and there's this kind of uniform cookie cutter thing, and these people have surrendered their lives to live in this like kind of fame factory, and they got to eat fruit instead of candy. They got to be on the treadmill constantly, and then there's this guy in there, the actor who played Caravaggio in the Simon Schama Power of Art documentary series that you and I both love. And I could tell by his maniacal laugh. But now he's like 20 years older, and he had a gut, and, but that guy's a freaking great actor also. I followed him on Twitter after we first saw that Caravaggio stuff.
Yeah.
And then all of his tweets were going to the pub, getting a beer. So I unfollowed him. But that the black guy that was the star of Get Out is a brilliant actor.
I love that concept because I didn't see the whole thing, but I see that we're all living in a cookie cutter world when you are going on the social media and you just appear to people to be very happy, having this great life, and then you are posting stuff and living your life as if it's very perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
So
that's what the movie was
to appear
about.
perfect, so like that strangers will like everything you do.
Yeah, and if something gets viral, whatever you do, you think, oh my God, I'm going to be a star. And then you do the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's what the whole thing was about. That's interesting. Because we do kind of live in a social media, the cookie cutter thing that he portrayed in that episode.
Well, I mean, there was certainly, it's like there was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie called, it wasn't Marathon Man, but it was like this game show, and Richard Dawson was the host.
Oh,
it was like in the
with
80s.
an R.
Running Man. That's what it was called. Running Man. It was this TV game show where people are competing for their lives.
Yeah.
That was it. Running Man.
Was
Thanks,
it really?
man.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then I would love to watch that movie again. It's this game show and people get killed, and the audience is just, all they give a shit about is entertainment.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was that element combined with the futuristic technology of what we have today, where even the walls in the rooms where these people slept could be emoji birds and like sunshine, sunrise.
All the walls.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was very interesting.
So it didn't have the death element of Running Man, but it had that, everything is a game show.
I think the depth element has to be after you watch it and think about it. Because I know that we are not very much social media posting a lot of things compared to our other friends. Because when you start doing it, it just takes one, a lot of time. Second, you are really posting things that are fun.
You're right. We should
nice
post
thing.
more things of us crying, and
That's not what I mean.
that would be hilarious. Like if because it's funny that you say that, because I feel like I'm a 14-year-old girl. I think I've posted way too much photos and shit. But I think it would be really funny if you and I started it, and then other people started posting like just pictures of you crying, you having a miserable time, like you and I arguing, like you choking me, and like just
The bad part of life.
just everything bad in life. Just post things like that.
Having a hangover.
Homeless people in a gutter in an alley. That would be funny.
What would happen if you do that? Then you would have a lot of people. No, the people think, oh, look at them. That's so pathetic. I'm going to just follow people who are happy. So maybe it's more of an ideal thing, like those episodes are portraying. It is about seeing happiness, following happiness, And then you kind of become really addicted to it. Just to see. For example, Instagram.
Yeah.
Because I deleted the Facebook app and the Twitter app from my phone.
Oh yeah, Jesus, you're a genius.
And man, the things that people post, they're so beautiful. And so happy. And everything is perfect. And you see so many great people walking, with beautiful bodies.
Yeah.
Great photos. There's always happiness, sunshine, drinks, healthy food. Yeah, so I think if you're gonna be very negative, if we try this experiment, it would definitely fail. I think that social media is for going
Happy things. So we are headed for that Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Waking up in a room with bird emojis and emoji sunrise and happy things like that. Well, I could use some more Instagram followers. I could use some more fan page likes and Twitter followers and shit like that. Okay, I'm going to start jumping things on motorcycles and sword swallowing. I'm going to step up the daredevil aspect of things. What do you think? I'm going to alligator wrestle when I go to Florida. What do you think?
I would love it.
Photo with me like stretching the alligator's mouth out and put my head in between his jaws just for that perfect Instagram photo. So I was very impressed that you deleted Facebook and Twitter from your phone, and you said, hey, why don't you do it? And I went, yeah, right.
Wow, you should do it. You're so addictive.
Right, I know. I want to know what's happening.
It's like a waste of time.
All right, I'll get maybe. Who knows?
Well, that's the point. It's a waste of time because you're doing it every minute that you're free. You have a break, like between you're waiting for the coffee to be brewed, right? Just tiny moments like that. But what you should do is just have one time a day, and then at the end of the day you do it again, and that's it.
Just treat it like a load of dishes.
Yeah.
Hey, I should mention, man, there's some cool shit. I got invited to that Sydney, Australia, the Sydney Comedy Festival tour at the end of August, beginning of September. And now at the beginning of August, I'm going to do Norway. I've never played in Norway before. So our summer's looking really good.
Congratulations.
I'm going to do Amsterdam, Toomler, Dublin, Ireland, and maybe Paris before that. Not sure about Paris, but I'm gonna do Norway. I'm really excited about that.
And we're gonna go to Portugal?
Oh yeah, and we got this gig in Portugal. Holy shit. And we've never been to Portugal. It's somewhere near Faro. If you want to take a trip this summer, dear listener, there's this gig. What is it? July 11th. I'm in Portugal, and it's some little theater near Faro. We'll get more information for that soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we talk about... I'm going to have to pack soon to go to Tampa. Should we talk about the interracial film festival?
Yes.
That we had?
We couldn't get enough of the interracial stuff.
What was the Matthew McConaughey movie we saw? It was the
Jonestown? Jones. The Free State of Jones.
The Free State of Jones. We saw that. He's a Confederate soldier, and
based on true events.
Yeah, Jones County, Mississippi, and it's just poor man fighting rich man's war. Yep. It's just poor man fighting a rich man's war. Yep. The mopey Southern accents are fantastic, and so what? His brother gets. So there's all these rich Confederate guys. If you own more than 10 slaves, you don't have to fight. Yeah. So these guys are back, and they're taking. They're only supposed to be taking 10%
of every household to support the war.
To support the war, but they're taking more, and the women and children.
They're taking all the food and the winter food they have, all the
cotton
animals,
and blankets, their pigs,
furniture.
Yeah, so it's really nasty. So his little nephew gets killed.
And that's how the story starts, right?
Yeah, and then he takes the body home to be buried, and then he's a deserter basically. And then the mean, higher-ranking Confederate soldiers who aren't at the front lines are going around. Anyway, so he does some shit, and then he ends up in the swamps with these runaway slaves.
And the swamps are safe because there's no army with guns.
Because the honkies are too afraid to go into the swamp.
Yeah.
With the voodoo and the alligators.
So that saved them, and they had a free place where they can just hang out. So you had the slaves, the runaway slaves, the deserters who would just hang out there.
And the guy that won the Oscar, Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
Actually, and there's a knowledge nugget. He was the first Muslim person to ever win an Oscar.
Cool.
Did you know that?
No.
So I read that after the Academy Awards. So he's in it as a runaway slave. I forget what his name in it is. In Matthew McConaughey says
Moses.
Moses, that's it. He goes, Moses, are you an N-word? He goes, you can't own a child of God. You can't own a child of God. It was a really good movie. And then Matthew McConaughey has this relationship with this slave woman. And it was a damn good flick. I'm surprised I didn't hear more about it. I never saw it. I never saw it in the theaters.
Came and went away. It's such a pity.
So then we couldn't get enough of the interracial story, and we watched that movie Loving.
Yes.
Which is a really important piece of American history because it was illegal for people of different races, for blacks and whites anyway, to intermarry.
Yeah.
And the guy's last name was Loving. That's why it's called Loving.
Yeah.
And they were from Virginia. But I had read about this story, and I'm glad someone made a movie out of it. So you and I had we had problems with our player, and the sound wouldn't play.
Yeah.
So
we watched the whole movie without the sound.
We watched the entire Loving movie without the sound, and we watched it with the subtitles. And so basically we read the movie like a book. So we don't know what that movie sounds like. We don't know what their accents sound like. And it was really funny. For half the movie, we read the parts.
Yeah, it was funny.
You did I was like, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of you. And
then something like, I got a phone call today.
Oh, yeah, who was the phone call from?
It was some kind of lawyer up DC.
Washington, D.C. It was funny. So we had a good time reading this movie. It was really kind of adorable. You and I reading the Loving movie.
It's like we're doing
a scene.
Yeah, acting.
Doing a play or
audition,
something.
yeah. But it was a great movie. I can't believe that it was so vicious back then, you know?
Yeah, and it really happened. It was a true story. And it was in Virginia. And I had read about this story years ago. They were really country people. So I'm glad that it showed their story. They were just like
normal people.
Normal, like country people. Guy
Nobody hurting him.
He worked on cars.
Yeah.
And she was really close with her family. And his mom was what's it called when you help women?
A nurse.
Yeah.
A nurse for babies.
Nurse for babies.
Baby delivery.
Yeah. So we even without the sound, that was a brilliant movie.
Yeah, and I really liked how the house looks, how they dress, what kind of work they had to do back in the time. For me, that's interesting for me too, just to know, just to be part of somebody's life back then. Because the movie gives you a very good insight in how their lives were.
There was a really important Life magazine photo spread on them that apparently really influenced a lot of people's opinions because he's laying with his head on her lap and they were watching the Andy Griffith show. And so that's the photograph, this famous photograph.
And they were laughing.
Of them both laughing. So it's
Yeah.
funny that they were laughing at the Andy Griffith show.
Yeah.
Which is probably will be the next Bible.
So if it wasn't for them, we couldn't get married.
If it was not for those people, you and I would not be allowed to be married. So yeah, it was appropriate that we would act out the parts while watching that movie and read the dialogue to each other. Okay, my delicious Moroccan cake smoochie pop. my little almond on top. I need to finish packing up and get ready to go to Tampa.
Yes. So the next time we're gonna do a podcast on Skype.
Yeah, wow. That'll be it'll be like Neil Armstrong on the moon talking to NASA. Hey, Smoochie, I'm speaking to you from Tampa.
The wind is blowing my hair and I'm on the beach.
That's right. So that'll be great to see some old friends of mine in Tampa, and then I'm going to Las Vegas. So check out the patreon.com Tom Rhodes Radio Smart Camp thingy-mabob.
And join the club.
Join the club. Become a lieutenant, a captain, a general. You'll love it. It's going to be great. The last thing we need to talk about is one of your all-time favorites died. Chuck Berry.
Oh, Chuck Berry.
Oh, my God.
Johnny Be Good.
Why do you like Chuck Berry so much? Because when we first started dating, like you were really into Chuck Berry. I thought that's really interesting for a European woman. How did you discover Chuck Berry?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's just his songs are so happy. You just have to dance on his songs. And I never really listened to the text, I think, the lyrics before. It was just, hey, happy song. And I started dancing.
Well, it's funny, too, because the my vinyl record collection, when we got our apartment, well, even before I got the apartment, I remember I was at a record store and I bought you 2 vinyl Chuck Berry records. Remember, in Florida? There's a little record store in DeLand. I found these Chuck Berry records, and you were. It was like I could have given you like a dozen roses or something.
Yeah.
You were thrilled.
I like him. He's great. He's a great singer. That song, Johnny Be Good, how great of a song is that?
All-time classic. It's on like some little
Spaceship?
space probe, space capsule, time capsule.
Yeah.
It's on there.
That's amazing.
That song will live forever. And that song invented rock and roll pretty much. That and the Bill Haley and the Comets, Rock Around the Clock. Those 2 songs are supposedly the genesis of rock and roll.
Thank you, Chuck Berry.
Thank you, Chuck Berry, for inventing rock and roll. And a little knowledge nugget, Chuck Berry's little duck walk that he used to do, it was so he could kick out the wrinkles from his suit when his pant leg had some wrinkles in it.
Isn't that funny?
And I told you this, maybe I shouldn't bring this up, but in the 90s, he got in trouble. Chuck Berry had a
restaurant.
Okay, let's go back further. When in 1958, he got arrested for, there was some 14-year-old girl that he drove across state lines, and he
hired her for
to work
gig.
in his nightclub.
Yeah.
But so that he was arrested and charged with like promoting prostitution or something. He was caught with this woman.
Yeah.
And he spent a couple years in prison for it. And this is just like a couple years after. I mean, he's already like super famous. But he said that young lady was anything but innocent.
Yeah.
For being 14.
He went to jail many times, right? And then one time for tax evasion.
Tax evasion, and then he had a restaurant in the 90s. He was arrested he put secret cameras in the women's changing room or the bathroom. Like he was filming women going to the bathroom.
That's nasty.
That's really nasty.
That's definition of pervert.
And then, before the internet, like tapes would go around. Like I remember I was living in San Francisco. There's this like famous, there was a audio of 2 drunk alcoholic gay guys arguing. Like they were yelling at each other. And I remember all the comedians passing that around. And I remember the line this guy was saying, "Shut up, little man. Shut up, little man." And it was just somebody lived next door to this alcoholic older gay couple. And they argued all the time. So he stuck a recording device under their window. And I remember this cassette being traded around. And then like VHS tapes that had weird shit would be passed around also. And I remember one tape that was being passed around was, and I don't know if I was at a party and somebody played it or if it was lent to me for a short period to look at it. But it was Chuck Berry had some white girl in the bathtub, and he had a video camera, and he's filming it. He's standing over her, and he's pointing the video camera at her, and he says, "Do you love me, baby?" And she's looking up at him, and she goes, "Yeah." And you can tell by the way she said, "Yeah," that when Chuck Berry asks you if you love her, something really fucked up's about to happen.
Shit was about to go down.
Shit was about to go down. So he says, "Do you love me, baby?" And she goes, "Yeah." And then he peed on her. And it was a videotape of him peeing on this girl.
On her face?
On her face.
Oh, why do you have to tell me that?
Yeah, it was fucking nasty, man. And he goes, "What's it like?" And she goes, "It's bitter."
Oh,
yeah, I'm sorry. Is that a bad way to end the podcast?
That's a bad way to end my Chuck Berry love.
Well, the man had some flaws, needless to say. But he had some great songs.
Thanks, Tom.
I never told you that before, huh?
No. It's nasty. Now I have that picture in my mind.
Yeah, well, geez. He was Chuck Berry. But anyway, I wish I could get that image. I haven't seen that image in 20, 25 years.
It doesn't matter because now I'm going to listen to his songs.
And you're going to picture him peeing on girls. Sorry about that.
Well, I guess peeing happens a lot of time.
The man...
I just have to normalize it.
What is your favorite Chuck Berry song?
Johnny Be Good.
That's it, huh? Mm-hmm. And I picture Michael J. Fox doing the duck walk.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
And Back to the Future. Anyway. Shalom, amigos.
Shalom, amigos. Amigos.
That's great. All right. Let's end this with a great song.